So you wanna go to war with me? You're talking like you think you're royalty. You think that I'm afraid, but I don't break. I heard you question my stability. You think I'll fall just like a guillotine, but I am here to stay. Won't look away. The storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control, feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the
All right, guys, good morning. Happy Tuesday, February 13th, one day away from Valentine's. How's everybody doing this morning? Shin Kyoku, good morning. We just got our inflation numbers, CPI. Let's see what this has to say. And we have the SPY reacting to it right away, along with most tickers out there. Let's dig through the details as we work on that first cup of coffee here. Consumer prices rose 0.3% in January, more than expected as the annual rate moved to 3.1%. Let me make this a little bit bigger. High shelter prices weighed on consumers, the Labor Department said. The CPI, a broad-based measure of prices shoppers face for goods and services across the economy, increased 0.3% for the month, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. On a 12-month basis, that came out to 3.1%. Excluding food and energy prices, the core CPI accelerated to 0.4% and was up 3.9% a year ago. Not exactly the news that we wanted to hear for a bullish Tuesday. All the major indexes red. Asian markets were mixed last night, and European markets red today. Bitcoin at 49,411. Gold at 2,042, silver 22.93. All right, let's switch up to this screen. Not that one. There we go. Shin Kyoku, congratulations on the 2-year anniversary as a member. Cheers to you. Oh man, coffee is much needed this morning. I did not do a very good job at getting to sleep at a decent hour last night. I don't know what time it was, but I fell asleep. Probably 3 a.m. But we're going to get there. We're going to get there where I'm able to go to sleep at a decent hour. We went and saw Anyone But You last night for our pre-Valentine's. That was a good time. And then came home and just chatted for quite a while. And before you know it, it's 2 or 3 in the morning. SPY dropped from 500 to 495. Let me check something on my YouTube here. Looks like I was lagging there for a second. GFAM, good morning. I've got a watch list for the earnings this morning. The ones that are pre-market that I'm interested in anyways. AutoNation, Datadog, Hasbro, Coke, Marriott, Moody's, QSR, which is restaurant brand, and Shopify. Looks like Shopify might have already dropped their results. Possibly, let's see. They did. So let's see what we have here. Shopify reported a quarterly profit and stronger quarterly profit. That's good. And a stronger than expected revenue, and says that it expects better growth through this year. The company swung to a profit of $657 million or 51 cents a share, compared with a loss of $623 million a year earlier. That's a big swing. Minus 623 to positive 657. Analysts were expecting 30 cents a share. Adjusted EPS, it came in at 34. Looking ahead, Shopify said it expects revenue to grow at a low 20s% rate on a year-over-year basis. Still pretty healthy, 20% growth on $7.06 billion generated across 2023. And yet, they take a dive. Now, they have had pretty big run-up in the last 12 days. $75 to $94. Now they've lost all of that here in pre-market. So let me go through some of these others and see if we have any numbers on them. AutoNation beats expectations of earnings. Sales of new vehicles drive up revenue, and that one is holding flat in pre-market. Datadog falls on week 2024 earnings forecast. What do they say here? Datadog posts revenues higher than estimates and inline profit for Q4. Adjusted per share profit for the full year in the range of 138 to 144, below expectations. Why is this saying earnings forecast? Let me pull up a little bit more on them. All right, so they're saying that the more detail on that one is the management gave weak guidance for the year ahead. So that one is down 4.7% in pre-market. Hasbro down 7%. Hasbro slumps after earnings miss estimates and guidance disappoints. How bad did they miss? Company reported fourth quarter earnings of 38 cents a share on an adjusted basis on revenue of 1.29 billion. Analysts had been expecting earnings of 65 cents. Yeah, that's a pretty big miss on revenue of 1.5 billion. On an unadjusted basis, their net loss was $7.64 a share. That'd be interesting to dig into and figure out what their write-off was, the difference between adjusted and unadjusted earnings. But yeah, they're getting spanked. Coke rises as Q4 revenue beats expectations. I don't own any Coke right now, but I've always liked Coke as a good long-term part of your portfolio. See if I set up a buy price for this one. Yeah, I have my blue bar there where I'd like to buy it around $52. Last time they saw that was around October of last year. Previous to that, October of 2022. So we'll see. We'll see if I'll be able to grab that on maybe a market crash. Right now trading at 59. Marriott falls after downbeat annual profit forecast. The hotel operator forecast annual profit below estimates as travel demand in the United States returns to levels from a post-pandemic spike. Marriott forecast fiscal year profit in the range of $9.18 to $9.52 a share, compared with estimates of $9.69 a share from analysts. So they beat on Q4, but the guidance for the year was not quite where analysts wanted it to be. And it is slumping in pre-market, also down almost 4%. Moody's posts Q4 profit below estimates as credit ratings unit disappoints. How do you lose money in this business? I've not looked into their financials. They got a new CFO, a new name CFO. Moody's missed estimates for fourth quarter profit as the performance of its credit ratings and assessment unit fell short of expectations. The company forecast per share adjusted profit between $10.25 and $11 for the full year. They are down 3.5% in pre-market. Let me check something here on QSR. All right, QSR, Restaurant Brands, operates Tim Hortons, Burger King, Popeyes, and Firehouse Subs. Just wanted to double check what all companies they owned. Do we not have earnings on them yet? No, we don't. Or do we? Oh yeah, we do. Down here on my other screen, it says Restaurant Brands Inc., ticker RBI, no, QSR, ticker QSR, sorry. Today reported financial results for the year and the fourth quarter. And income from operations of $2.05 billion versus $1.89 billion in the prior year. Net income rose to $1.78 billion. Diluted earnings per share of $3.76 versus $3.25 in the prior year. And net cash provided by operating activities of $1.3 billion, free cash flow of $1.2 billion. Printing some money over there. And the stock is green, but mostly flat here in pre-market. Our meme stocks this morning falling with the major indexes. AMC is down about 4%. GameStop down 2%. Palantir down 5% this morning. 23.78. Erasing all of yesterday's gains on Palantir. And how about erasing all of yesterday's gains on AMC, and going in negative territory compared to yesterday for GameStop. Oof! Not the news we want to hear. Corey Jones, good morning to you. Brian, good morning. Headstock Hiram, what's up? Spencer G, good morning. Yeah, Headstock Hiram, the AI list is on the agenda, hopefully for today. I'll be able to get with Rolf. Feel free to, now that we're here for an hour, if you have any suggestions you want added to the list, I'll jot them down. I can find a pen. Here we go. We got some other news on the U.S. Senate. Let's see if they have a link to it here on that. What was it? A defense bill that they've been talking about. Senate approves Ukraine and Israeli aid, but the bill faces a tough path through the House. I saw that one of our senators, John Cornyn, was one of the Republicans that voted for this fucking $93 billion, $95 billion over in the Senate in the wee hours of the morning. The U.S. Senate voted early Tuesday. I think it was probably like about 4 a.m. up in D.C. when they finished their filibustering and debate and negotiating and handshaking and secret backroom deals. Senate approved early Tuesday $95 billion aid package providing funds for the Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan, but the future of the bill remains uncertain amid intense lawmaker opposition. The bill passed overwhelmingly 70 to 29 in the Democrat-led chamber. The bill must be approved by the Republican-led House of Representatives before becoming law and faces opposition from many in the GOP. Yeah, never mind about that deficit. Never mind that we don't have a balanced budget. Just go ahead and pile on another $95 billion. I mean, what's it going to matter at this point anyways, right? Good Lord, these people. How about you cut something if you want to approve $95 billion? You just keep on writing checks that the American taxpayers don't want to have to pay. That's all right. Our grandkids can take care of it. Or we can just bankrupt this country. You guys probably know, if you've been following this, that the GOP was pushing for inclusion of funding. If we're going to approve this, let's make sure we have some funding for domestic security. That got, as far as I understand, my brief reading on this morning as I was waking up, that did not make it in the Senate version of the bill. Oh yeah, they talk about it here. The Senate foreign aid bill is silent on the most pressing issue facing our country, border security. President Joey B. and top officials have stressed that approving these funds is crucial to upholding Washington's international obligations and to protect domestic security. All right. Because, making sure Israel and Ukraine have free money is vital to the U.S. security. All right. All right. Whatever you say, Joey B. Go take a nap. Let's see what's up with Elon. Tesla's board has been silent since Elon's 56 billion pay package was revoked. I was loosely following that last week, or in the last couple of weeks. It's been 2 weeks since the Delaware court voided Elon Musk's pay package. The board of directors, which the judge indicated was beholden to Musk, which is one of the reasons why the judge nixed the deal. In the judge's opinion, the board was beholden to Musk. That was one of the few things that the judge could make a decision on and say, based on that, my belief that the board was beholden to Musk, I can just cancel this package. The board hasn't updated shareholders on what comes next. I am curious what comes next, too. And legal experts expect the team of Elon Musk to appeal the ruling to the Delaware Supreme Court. Now, this was in the Delaware Chancery Court that this decision came down 2 weeks ago, when the Delaware Chancery Court, you guys probably already know this because we followed some other cases last year that you might remember. If a plaintiff doesn't like a decision out of the Chancery Court, the next step is the Delaware Supreme Court. And our Chancellor back in January was Kathleen McCormick. So I'll loosely be keeping an eye on that one. Here's another article on restaurant brands. Do any of y'all have a Tim Hortons? General review of Tim Hortons drive-through coffee house and restaurant at Lakeside Retail Park in Grays, United Kingdom. We don't have these in my area, so I don't know what Tim Hortons is, but I'm going to check it out real quick. Obviously, it's a drive-through restaurant and coffee house, but I'm just curious, what is the deal with Tim Hortons? Is it like a Starbucks? Come on, Google. Oh, it's in Canada. Take off, you hoser. Home of Canada's favorite coffee, breakfast sandwiches, the bagel belt, donuts, hash browns. Tim Hortons, commonly nicknamed Tim's or Timmy's, is a multinational coffee house and restaurant chain based in Canada with headquarters in Toronto. 5,701 restaurants. Well, that's a pretty big footprint. The very first question under Google is, people also ask, is Tim Hortons coming to Texas? North Texas first Tim Hortons is coming to Dallas in 2024. So maybe we'll see what it's all about at some point here in Austin. I guess that must be up there in the great frozen north, your version of Starbucks, eh? Brian in the market says, Tony, it's a pleasure to be in a mature room. Cheers, my friend. Blazing, what's up, amigo? Good morning to you. Headstock Hiram says, not even sure where to start with AI plays, but it seems they could be huge. Yeah, feel free to shoot me ideas. I want to make sure we don't miss anything, because I'm trying to do live streams and and get some videos done in the middle of the day. Yesterday was a tight day for me to start working on that. So hopefully today, but if not today, we'll get it done by the end of the week. And I know Rolf is working on that too. And I need to spend the middle of my day today working on that Palantir DD update. That's high on my list. Yeah, Atrum, Hasbro took a big loss on earnings. We were just going through, I create a little watch list of our pre-market earnings companies up here. And yeah, Hasbro down almost 5%. But they are rebounding. They are rebounding. Look at that. They're coming back. Coke is looking good. Marriott's down 3.5%. Moody's down and still falling. QSR only down 1%. Shopify taking the big spanking this morning. Oh, and quite a few of you asked me to look into Robinhood. So maybe I'll do a quick dive on Robinhood while we're live this morning. Because yeah, obviously I can't do a deep dive on them, but we can go through their financials and some of the recent analysts' thoughts on Robinhood and see if we can guess what's going to happen in after hours today when they report their earnings. Blazon's up there in Canada. He says Timmy's is life here in Nova Scotia. Good and not super expensive. So unlike Starbucks, Frank says it's more like Dunkin' Donuts, coffee and donuts. All right. I'm trying to remember, what is that? I was watching a video many months back, Blazon, and they were talking about one of the most famous snacks in Canada, something I had never heard of before, and it looked not very healthy. It reminds me of something you'd pick up at a breakfast place. Let me see if I can. I know you probably know it, but down here, it's not poutine or poutan, however the fuck you say it. Ketchup chips, that's not it. Coffee crisp, no. The 11 best Canadian treats you can't know. It's not a candy. It was something baked, if I remember. Beaver Tail. Yes, that is it. Let me pull that up again. Beaver Tail. Beaver Tail is a fried dough pastry sold in a variety of flavors. Not that Beaver Tail. It's this one. There's a picture here of an actual beaver tail. No, not that. Yeah, look at this. This looks like a freaking insulin attack right here. Got fried dough with chocolate and Reese's Pieces and some icing put on there for good measure. I would try it once, though. These cinnamon ones look pretty good, too. I'm assuming that's cinnamon. Big 57, if he says, what the heck just happened? Are we talking about the indexes dropping? The CPI update was this morning at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. And that is what happened. That's why everything got rug pulled this morning. So just scroll back to the beginning of this live stream and watch the update on that real quick. Or pull up CNBC and read through it. But yeah, pre-market's not going to be fun this morning thanks to the consumer price index. Atrum says, will be a long time, but Intel should win once the fabs are built and as their new chips come out. Could be ages, though. Yeah, Intel, I used to play it a lot back in the 90s when they were more dominant. And I mean, there was a time I remember where AMD was, you know, it was questionable back in the 90s if AMD was going to even survive. And then they started putting out more competitive chips, processors, giving Intel a run for their money and at cheaper prices. And that whole power dynamic slowly changed. And now it seems like Intel, it's tough for me to decide if I ever want to own Intel anymore. You know, back when I started trading, it was, you know, it was cyclical, but it was like a can't lose stock. And every time I go try and look at Intel now, I'm like, do I really want to be on this ride a long time and wait for them to try and reestablish some sort of competitive position when you have something? I don't want to own every chip stock out there. You got something like Nvidia, which has just been killing it in terms of stock price. And it makes playing something like an Intel, like, why even do it? Unless you say, well, Nvidia is overpriced, and maybe if you're able to pick up Intel cheap enough, like at $24 back in the early part of 2023, maybe that's a good deal. But even if you did, I mean, you've only doubled your money on Intel. And what's Nvidia done since February of last year? $220 to $746. 200. Yeah, Nvidia still winning hands down. I did reach out, by the way, to Webull. If you guys were paying attention Friday or over the weekend, there were these screenshots going around saying that Ape was trading on Friday, which is utter horseshit, complete falsehood. Webull on their app, apparently, by the time I went to go look, I didn't see it. I checked on desktop, tablet app, and mobile phone, but there were screenshots, and let's just say they're true. I'll go with that for now. They were showing prices between $190 to $700 for Ape, a stock which was canceled back in August of 2023. And guys, please use some common damn sense. I'm talking to you YouTubers, you social media people on Twitter. Come on, man. If one freaking app is showing a price for something in after hours and you know that the stock was canceled, wouldn't you do some extra legwork? Like check 100 other places to see if there's data out there. Maybe check a time and sales report where every after hours trade is logged. You guys hopefully know how to pull up trade and sales reports. But no, that's too difficult for people to do. They want to put a screenshot and get everybody all conspiracy-minded people thinking that Ape is trading in after hours because one broker has a fucking mistake. Anyways, I know for some of these guys, it's just too late for me to ever convince them to step out of their conspiracy boots and use common sense But I have reached out to Webull over the weekend, and they're working on issuing some sort of update. Of course, you know, when they do issue a public, what's the word I'm looking for? When they do say something, you know what everyone's going to say? Oh, well, yeah, of course they explained it away. It was just a glitch. Man, I mean, this willingness of people just to grab the conspiracy barbell and jump into the deep end of the pool on the slightest thing that confirms their bias, even though there's 99% of other data sources telling you something different, it just astonishes me. And people wonder why they're losing money. Because you believe all the fucking wrong stuff. You don't ever question something using logic and common sense or verifying things with other sources. What is wrong with these people? Anyways, let's see if they answered me. They were communicating with me all through last night. They have a team working on getting me an answer. This is the last message I got. Blazin says the thing about Intel is they're building a foundry in the U.S. Yeah, is that the one up in the Northeast? Were they the ones that got the big tax write-off or tax abatements? If China or Taiwan ever goes bad, Intel could be the only U.S. source. See, there is a bull case to be made for Intel. Thank you, Blazin. I will give them some consideration. I right now have no semiconductor play, and I'd like to be in at least one, and I'm really nervous, even though our friend Jim Cramer was saying Nvidia is gonna go higher. I feel hesitant about buying it at this price. Maybe Intel is my contrarian play. Zelly Zen, good morning. I got my Texas Longhorn coffee cup here this morning. This was, I think, either this year or last year, a Christmas present from my son, who is a university student, not a hedge fund employee. You know how much that makes us crack up that these nut job popcorn project people think that my son works for a hedge fund or that I got him a job for a hedge fund. He's a freaking college student, guys. He's in his junior year on getting his degree in he's doing his lower degree is going to be in accounting, if I recall this correctly, and he'll end the 5-year program with a degree in accounting and a master's in finance. So he went up to New York this past summer and worked for a private equity firm in real estate. If you pay attention enough to me to know that my son was in New York, but you can't hang around enough to hear that he worked for a real estate company analyzing the real estate market in New York. These nut jobs have very selective hearing. Or Tony's son was working for Goldman Sachs. Markets with May got him a job at Goldman Sachs. No, you dipshits. You guys are a bunch of clowns. My son is just cracking up over this shit too. He found his own job in New York, working for a real estate company, a private equity. You know, once you say private equity, the nut job's hearing turns off Oh, we need to investigate this. What a bunch of clowns, man. But he is a junior. He got me the coffee cup, and hopefully he's watching this morning. Sees that I am using your gift, son. That's where I went to school too, many, many years ago. And let's see, what else is going on with him? He's going to be in Spain for spring break, which is coming up. His girlfriend, who's also an accounting student at UT, is doing a semester abroad in Spain. So he's going to go over there and visit her over spring break and do some sightseeing. Then he'll be back here in Texas, and he'll be in California for his second internship this summer. So I can't wait to see what the clowns come up with for that one. I'm giving you early notice, clown cars, so you can get your new conspiracy theories ready. I had nothing to do with it. He's like most good college students, he's arranged his own internships to ensure that when he graduates, he's got some experience under his belt. Makes him a better hire. If you ever went to college, I know most of these clown car folks don't know about that shit. If you went to college, or you've had a kid who went to college, you know about the importance of internships. But he's still real. He's a greenhorn. He's wet behind the ears in the accounting and finance market. So it's important for him to get some exposure in different aspects of the industry that he hopes to be in one day. Whale talking about Timmy's up in Canada. He said sold bean right away after Tim Hortons' death, and the coffee became crap, but people still bought it out of convenience. Knower says Tony wants to sound all tough with his conspiracy theorist nonsense, yet he's a Biden voter. You know nothing about me, you fool. Here we got somebody stepped out of the clown car to try and throw some eggs, and they landed back on his face. Because if you know me, if you talk to me every day, you would know that you are 100% incorrect. Now, you can issue an apology, said, I'm a fool, sorry, Tony, I'm just here to troll, or I don't really know you, or I can just permanently boot you from the channel. You got about 15 seconds to decide. Smooth operator, good morning to you. I'm a truck driving, gun toting Republican here down in Texas. And your 15 seconds are up. Let's play some music for this dipshit. Karen, bring me your torch. The tribe has spoken. It's time for you to leave Ape Island.
Bye, Felicia.
Goodbye, clown. Good Lord, you guys got to try harder. Soul Seeker, what's up? Atrum, do you really think that Intel has a chance against Nvidia? What do you think, Atrum? Blazin says, bro really came in here and thought he'd do something. I don't talk politics on this channel because no matter what I say, I'm going to offend half the people. Just like I try not to talk about it in real life. But if you're in my circle, you definitely know my politics. I love to talk about it. My very first major in college was political science. And then I took a look around where I lived in Austin. I was like, yeah, this is probably not a good path. Let's switch to economics. All right, so we talked about earnings this morning. Tonight, after the market closes, I'll be back. We got Airbnb, Upstart, Robinhood, Lyft, MGM, Zillow, Instacart to talk about in after hours. We got about 8 minutes until the market opens. I'm going to hang out with you for a little bit and see if anything tries to recover here in the first hour of market open. But the inflation report is weighing on the markets right now. Andrew, good morning. All right. Who asked Atrim a question? Soul Seeker. All right. Soul Seeker, he says, Nvidia can't produce enough chips to meet demand. It's not about being better than Nvidia. It's about being another option. Nvidia is also pricing their stuff extremely high, pricing power to performance. Let's see. I'm going to see here real quick what the analyst forecast and updates. Other than Kramer saying the market and Nvidia are going higher, we got an analyst yesterday given a $775 price target for Nvidia. Joseph Moore over at Morgan Stanley, $750 price target. Goldman Sachs, $800 price target. A lot of recent upgrades with $775 to $800 on Nvidia. That is pretty impressive considering it's at $722 right now. That implies another up to 10% run up over the next year. And what is it doing this morning? Down 2.5% with the CPI update. Our daily runners this morning, we have, I left BMR up here because I kind of want to see what happens to it today, but we have OMH was up in pre-market 250%. ARBB up 148%. That both of them are coming down here from the early morning. And the other one that was of interest was BGLC. Up 157%. And what is this? DBGI coming in hot. That was not there an hour ago when I started tracking these. So let's see if there was some news on it. Digital Brands Group committed to no equity offerings this year as it affirmed financial guidance. Boy, I bet there's another company you'd like to see an announcement like this from. Digital Brands commits to no stock offerings, no dilution in 2024, and backs their financial targets. The clothing company, which recently unveiled plans to open 50 retail stores over the next several years, said it commits to no offerings for 2024, and they expect revenue for the year between 27 million and 30 million, an increase of about 70 to 90% over their forecast for 2023. And that stock is up 200% in pre-market. Boy, I bet, like I said, I bet we could think of one other company we'd like to see an announcement like that from and have it soar 200%. Whale says, Tony, can you look up Citadel long-term debt on their most current amount? Citadel or Citibank? Let me see what I can find. I've looked at Citibank's several times. It is a freaking huge financial statement. And I had some questions for May. I can't remember if I sent them to her, and I also sent something over to another analyst type folk on Twitter that I talked to with some thoughts and some questions, because I know on social media, especially this whole thing about on the liability part of the balance sheet, the assets sold but not yet purchased, securities sold but not yet purchased, that keeps on getting bantered about out there. And I just feel like the people that are pushing that message don't really understand what these banks do. I also have an issue with the fact that they only post the liability side of the balance sheet and not the asset side. I never see them talk about repo and reverse repo functions that the banks are doing that create that liability and asset on the balance sheet. Never see anybody explaining it. They just post a picture and say, oh my gosh, liquidity risk. Okay, walk me through your story. Don't just do a screenshot. Let me see how you're getting there, and then I can, maybe we can have a discussion. Let's see if we can find long-term debt here. Here's Citadel. Is this the most recent? No, this is not the most recent one. Sorry. December 2022. Why does Google suck so bad? 2021 comes right up at the top. Maybe March 1st, they haven't done the 2023 one yet. All right, so let's look at this. So when I see these screenshots and everybody wants to focus on this, I'm also looking up here. How's this balance sheet balancing? Is there a liquidity risk? Well, they have 57 billion in securities owned and 45 billion in securities sold, but not yet purchased. All right, we got the bell ringing. 9:30 up in New York City, 8:30 down here in Texas. But you wanted to know about long-term debt, so let's see if they even have any. I didn't see any. If they have long-term debt, it looks like it would be very minimal. Yeah, I don't see anything jumping out at me. Surely there must be some. Was there something specific about their long-term debt that you wanted me to find, or were you just wondering if they have any? Because I don't see it, not seeing it on the balance sheet. Unless I'm missing something here. They have 63 billion in total assets and 58 billion in total liabilities. But the bulk of that, the liabilities, is their short position. They got some payables, securities loaned, and a very small bucket of other liabilities. So I don't see it on Citadel. Let me check Citibank. And if you, meanwhile, if you can find a screenshot or something, send it to me on DM and drop me a note here. Citibank. Balance sheet. Citibank does have long-term debt. $275 billion. Shit. Oh my gosh. But their balance sheet is so freaking complicated. I don't care to get into it on this live stream this morning. I could sit there and read their balance sheet breakdown literally for hours, and I have, and I still don't completely understand it. I don't spend a lot of time analyzing bank balance sheets because they're so damn complicated. All right, now that we got the market open, the SPY is trying to come up off of that 1.5% rundown this morning. GameStop is down almost 3% at 1431. AMC down 4.5% at 435. Palantir down 4% at 2402. Let's see if any of these stocks or indexes care to rally back from the pre-market sell-off. It looks like they're trying to. Following the old SPY. I'll drop a link to this Citadel 2022 balance sheet in the chat for you, Whale. And it looks like around the end of this month or early in March, we should get an update from Citadel. Hopefully that link works for you. We got the Dow down 314 points, almost a full percent. The S&P down over 1%. NASDAQ down almost 2%. And the Russell 2000 up 35 points, up 1.75%. Paramount Global lays off about 800 employees a day after announcing record Super Bowl ratings. Let's see what we got here. That is actually where I watched the Super Bowl since we cut the cord. I don't have cable, but we do have some of the streaming, including Paramount Plus for watching Yellowstone. And that is how I was able to tune into the Super Bowl. Paramount Global announced Tuesday is laying off 800 employees, or roughly 3% of its workforce. This is exactly what Jerome Powell wants to hear. more layoffs. Seriously, I mean, that's what he wants to hear. The company said that they hit record highs for Super Bowl viewership. I was one. The CEO, warned of impending layoffs in an internal note sent last month. And he said at the time they must operate as a leaner company and spend less. Paramount Global being the parent company of CBS, which was the free network. If you still got antenna, rabbit ears, parent company of CBS, Paramount Pictures, Pluto TV, I didn't know that, and Paramount Plus, and cable networks including Nickelodeon, BET, and Comedy Central. I also saw this note this morning on the news that the Super Bowl this year was the most watched television show in history. That's pretty amazing. With an estimated 123.4 million people having watched across all platforms. CBS charged a record high $6.5 million average for every 30-second advertisement. And I saw somebody making fun of the religious commercials on there. I think there were at least 2 of them, right? We had $14 million that we weren't really sure what to do with, feed the hungry, help house the homeless. We thought that spending $14 million on a couple of religious ads to lecture you to be a better person would be much better than feeding those people. Why are they advertising in the freaking Super Bowl? Come on, man. Another update for us this morning. The Treasury proposes rule to extend anti-money laundering regulations to investment advisors. Let's see what this is about. Treasury Department's corruption watchdog on Tuesday issued new proposed regulations to require investment advisors to abide by anti-money laundering rules similar to what banks do. The new rules, if adopted, would require covered investment advisors to file suspicious activity reports, also known as SARs, to FinCEN and to disclose additional client information. So if they suspect that one of their clients is participating in money laundering, which banks have to submit SARs reports if they suspect that. Now the Treasury Department is proposing that investment advisors would have to submit these same reports. That applies to any investment advisor who is registered with or reports to the SEC. I think I'm cool with that. Probably the investment advisors aren't going to be very happy about it because it's just more paperwork and more liability on their side. But, we should probably do more to stamp out money laundering. Maybe start with Citadel, Virtu. Just always got to get that in. The proposed regulations stop short of requiring investment advisors to adopt formal customer identification programs like banks do, nor would they mandate that advisors report the beneficial ownership information to FinCEN for their clients that are legal entities like LLCs. Interesting. Bitcoin this morning at dropped below 49,000, now at 48,990, coming off of that $50,000 high yesterday, or even in pre-market today, along with the sell-off in the indexes. BGLC continuing to run with the market open. It was at 41 cents as we closed yesterday, up 269%. Let's dig a little deeper here since that is the one that's still moving. BGLC, Bionexus Gene. Let's see what's up with this. I don't see any news just yet, but shares outstanding is 17 million. Free float is 6.45 million. It's halted at the moment. Do we have any other news? Nope. Let me check the social medias very quickly. See if somebody's pumping this thing. BGLC. Always good to know if it's getting a pump out there. Then that can help us sometimes understand what's going on. Latest news. A lot of people calling it out on the run up, but oh man, it's going to take me too long to scroll back into yesterday's after hours and find out who started pushing it. What else we got about this company? A Malaysian company with 27 employees. Two-thirds of the float is owned by insiders. Let's see if there's any filings, why it might be getting pumped. BGLC, i.e. prospectus that have been filed. Nothing jumping out at me here. So nothing there. The last prospectus was in July of 2023. Maggie, good morning to you up there in Maine. Just Do It asked, do I use dilution tracker? I do. Is there something you need me to look up? I love that tool for understanding a lot of these, the plays that retail is very involved in, the plays that often are very dicey financials that get pumped, like your GTIIs or your fingers. I was talking to somebody the other day about a play. What was he asking me about? Let me look up the message. And I sent him over the dilution tracker chart, and he was like, "Holy shit! I would have never known that." It's one that we were. Oh, MMAT. MMAT was the company. You want to see why dilution tracker comes in handy? Let's put up MMAT here. So you can get this same information without paying for it, but it takes a bit of legwork. Dilution tracker goes in every time a filing is made, whether it's a prospectus or a proxy statement, a 10Q, an 8K, anything that might include either an updated share count or an updated notice of new warrants or convertible bonds or potential dilution. Dilution tracker within a day typically will update what the share count is days before your broker will. So for me, to have that information to share with you guys, it's an important tool because we can often get a head start days ahead of the pumpers who are saying this one's going to the moon. Meanwhile, I'm looking at it, seeing something like this. Look at this bar on the right for MMAT. The blue bars at the bottom is the current free float. The gray and the light blue is the approved filed potential dilution. So they're at roughly just under 6 million shares. Yet in the most recent month, they have filed the potential to 4x the float of this company, up to 24 million shares. On top of that, if you're holding MMAT, this is critical info for you to know that you could be diluted 4x. On top of that, why is it saying up here the risk for MMAT is high, the offering ability is high? That's why. The cash need on the far right, high. What does that mean? The cash need is high. Well, we can go look at the balance sheet and see why they need cash. Compare the cash they have on hand to their burn rate on the income statement or the cash flow statement. But you also get a table here with dilution tracker that gives you a quick heads up. The company has negative 0.4 months of cash left. They have negative cash left based on a quarterly cash burn of $12 million and current cash of $1.7 million. You can see over the last several years what's happened to MMAT's cash. It's gone down tremendously. And if you're wondering why MMAT's stock is getting crushed, it's because they have no products, they have no real income, they're burning through all their cash, and in order for them to survive, they're going to do what all companies, even including companies like AMC, are doing. They're going to dilute. It's dilute or file bankruptcy. Those are your two options. That's what MMAT is facing. That's what AMC was facing. So which one do you think is going to happen? So yeah, I mean, it's an expensive tool, dilution tracker, but it comes in very handy, cutting through with pictures where I can explain to people what, when I go through and read filings, I see this stuff, but it takes a while. And if you don't like to read, sometimes a picture or two says 1,000 words. And then I send this to people and they still don't believe it. You're a shill, Tony. I don't like your data. It's not my data. It's from the company. This is just a consolidator site to make it easier for us. When you see this setup, it's very, very easy. If you're based in logic, not emotion, it's very easy to see what is going to happen. Maggie says, good morning, Tony and my fellow apes. Are we still called apes or fools? We're investors, Maggie. We're investors, we're speculators, we're traders, we're a little bit of everything. And hopefully we're all on a journey to become less emotional investors. I want y'all to be cold-blooded. I want you to look for logical explanations to things first. See if there is one. And if you can't find a logical explanation, then we can start digging into some of the what ifs and the conspiracies and the speculation. But I often find that for just about every question proposed out on social media, Reddit, Twitter, there is almost every time a logical explanation. Just people reject it because they already have an idea in their head. And if the logic or the data, like those charts I just showed you on MMAT, doesn't confirm what they want to think, they call it bullshit. It's bad data. It's self-reported. It's fake. It's put out there by trolls. Most of this data that we get is put out by the companies themselves. So let's all continue to work to seek out facts, to read filings, to better understand financial statements. And it's fun to speculate. It's fun to think about conspiracy theories. I don't use that word disparagingly all the time. Like, sure, there's manipulation going on in the market. There's short selling. There's derivatives tradings. There's repos and reverse repos. There's all of that. But I think that having your foundation grounded in data first will align you with what the market is doing. And if you can understand what the market is likely to do, doesn't mean that you can't have your favorite little theory. But if you understand what the market is likely to do, 9 times out of 10, that's going to help you get on the right side of the trade in terms of preserving your capital. Might not be the right side of the trade of what we want as an end result. Don't get the message twisted here. But our number one goal is preserve capital. Number 2 is look for the right side of a trade to be positioned when something goes up without losing it while we're waiting. We can't be there to hit it over the fence if we let ourselves get ground down to zero. Soul Seeker, thank you for your comment. He says, just because we were in AMC and bought into the MOAS doesn't mean we can't learn to be traders and dig out of the hole and make money. And that was a hard realization that a lot of us came to, Soul Seeker, right? We believed in a short squeeze in 2021, and it did happen. There was whether you want to call it a FOMO run or a short squeeze, there was a significant run up in AMC in June of 2021. And I honestly believed, along with many of you, that there could be another one in 2021, and we didn't get it. And then the economy changed and the stock market changed and equity risk assessment by institutions changed and our price got ground down. And at some point, then AMC's running low on cash. The company decides to issue APE, which that was a thing. But then when things really, really changed, where you had to have your head on a swivel, was when they talked about converting it back, which then gave them the ability to dilute, which was critical for the company. to survive, but also was going to affect investors. That's when you needed to, that's when I and many of you woke up and was like, all right, we can't be thinking about this play in the same way anymore. How do we survive what is the most likely outcome? The most likely outcome would be that the conversion is approved and dilution happens. How do we survive that? So some of us made some changes in our strategy. That's I think a good thing to be able to have that ability to do. It was hard because most of us, you know, like if you bought like me some additional shares in late 2021 in the $30 to $40 range, you were well down in your position as we approached August of 2023 on those shares. But there was an ability, if you were nimble and you followed the DD that we talked about here, to trade out of that hole. And yeah, it was difficult for a lot of us to flip that switch in our thinking. And many people didn't, and that's fine. I think that for now, you know, the bankruptcy risk is off the table for AMC. That since they did those cash raises, the very necessary cash raises, and having up to $1 billion now, minus whatever they burned in Q4 on the balance sheet, should get them through this year. And now we just wait on the box office. Wait for the box office to see if it recovers, and we see how the economy does in the market. Laura says, I'm about to sell all my stocks for Bitcoin. I see Bitcoin getting hyped a lot, Laura. What's your price target? What are you thinking in your head? Just curious. We're going to start here soon dedicating one night a week live stream to crypto. Very, very soon. Probably not this week, maybe starting next week. I get back into having some regular evening fun discussions on different topics. And I'd like crypto to be one of them. What if we're going to do a crypto night, what night of the week should it be? That's another good question. Maybe Wednesdays. John says, after Mullen drained my account, I'm being more careful. Yeah, it's painful what happened to Mullen investors. I get it. I mean, there was a lot of hype around that company too, which I didn't get, John. I just didn't get it. Nothing against Mullen, but I mean, we all know they didn't have any product shipping for years since we started following it in 2021. And they kept on pushing out the products. And they didn't have a lot of cash. And so you can kind of think about that like, okay, we got the hype. But the reality says this company's going to have to raise cash and dilute to survive. And they always will. A company doesn't want to die. Think of it as a living, fighting organism that's going to do whatever it takes to survive these corporations. And you got to realize that is going to trump your wishes for what the stock price is going to do. They're going to rug pull us, these companies, as they fight for survival if they're losing money. So I want you to, if you want to speculate in these companies for little run-ups, that's good. But I want you to kind of shift your thinking. If you're stuck in a pattern of only buying meme stocks or money-losing companies, hoping for 100, 200, 1,000% runners, I like those too. But I want you to think of them as gamble plays, where sometimes you'll get lucky, most of the times you'll lose. And think about making the bulk of your portfolio companies that what we call blue chips, companies that have a long history of increasing revenues and a long history of profits. It's going to be more boring. I get it. But if we pick the right ones, if we pick them at the right price, like a Palantir at 16 or an Nvidia at 200 or a Disney at $78, you can outsize your returns versus the market by spending the time to dig, be patient to wait for the right buy-in price. And if that bench of your portfolio is mostly the bulk of your portfolio profitable companies, even though there's still going to be some market volatility, you're going to survive. You're going to, over time, your portfolio is going to grow. And then you, like I do, I take a small percentage of my account and I play the gambling plays, the AMCs, the GameStops. Why do I call them gambling plays? Because they're not making money. Although GameStop, we might see that they made money in 2023 with the next upcoming earnings. And that kind of shifts the dynamic for GameStop. And then we get into the valuation discussion. Is it properly priced at $13.96? I still think it's overpriced in the market's eyes. I know investors think it's underpriced. We'll have to see what the next earnings says to get our next pulse check on it, if the market's correct or if retail traders are correct. But if there's no meaningful management guidance with some new strategic direction, I still think that GameStop's going to get ground down to $10. Could they change that dynamic? Could they change that direction? Yeah, absolutely. But they need to give the market some meat to chew on. Company guidance, strategic direction change, acquisition of a company that's going to meaningfully change the revenue, top line revenue. I mean, GameStop's in a spiral down, cutting stores, cutting benefits, cutting employees, and they're surviving by also cutting cost and benefits, which is fine, cutting distribution centers. But what's going to be the story to take GameStop the next leg up? That is what I want to hear. Corax, what's up? I know Corax probably has some thoughts about GameStop too. I bet he would, being a rational investor, he would probably agree with that assessment that I just gave. And Corax gets a lot of shit out there in social media because the reason that he and I have this kinship. Hey, Corax, I showed my wife your face reveal video. Congratulations for jumping over the broom there. She's like, is Corax your friend? I was like, I don't know. I don't know if friend is the right word. I said, he tolerates me. We think alike on some things. But what was I saying? Oh, Corax gets a lot of shit out there because he looks at things very logically and he reads. And often when you read, your opinion is not popular with people when you're sharing data or some logic-based view on things. So that is what Corax and I have in common, kind of a logic-based approach, a fundamental / filing approach to how we analyze plays. I start there. I allow for the possibility of manipulation and all of those, and I know Corax does not, and I'm okay with that. But I think over the long term, having a foundation starting with facts will help you be here for the long haul. Business associate. Lord Corax. Every time someone tweeted to me yesterday, and I'm like, you guys are just giving food to the clown show that I call the Popcorn Project. I was making fun of them on Twitter, and something I said about nobody effing pays me. I would not be so unpopular if people, if I wanted to be popular, I wanted to push a paid position, I would not say things that are grounded in logic. But he said, "Don't worry, Tony. I'll just send you $5 over on your gardening channel." And I was like, "Oh shit, here we go. Another tweet that the clown show over and the Popcorn Project are gonna call that evidence. Look out, Korax. I'm going to court. Someone said they're gonna send me $5 super chat over on the gardening channel. It must be one of those sideways that they're paying him. Maybe they didn't get paid, but maybe they got promised something in the future. Maybe they got some inside information." Bunch of freaking clowns out there, man. Sparky Bunchta says tolerating someone on YouTube is almost BFF territory. That's what I've found out, Sparky. You're right. If you can survive a relationship with somebody on YouTube for more than 6 months and you still tolerate each other, that is practically BFF territory. Oh man. The amount of people that I started talking to back in the day in 2021, and I just had to sever ties as I realized they aren't on my same page in emotional control or ability to read filings and facts and have some fundamental understanding of things, which made many of them very angry. And the other half just turned out to be complete lunatics. Of all of the ones that I used to talk with back in 2021, the only person that I really talk to anymore is Mathalorian. And even him, I haven't heard from him in almost 2 weeks now. I don't know what the heck's up with that guy. I know last time I talked to him, he was talking about coming back to the United States and looking for a job. So, Johnny, if you're out there, shoot me a text, give me a call. Give us proof of life, Johnny. I did see him on Twitter. A couple days ago. And then, another newer BFF, I'll use that word, that, I didn't used to stream with Mediocre Trader back in the day because he was on another channel of a lunatic. And I just observed him and I was like, why is this very logical guy hanging out with a conspiracy nut job? And eventually they parted ways. And at some point after that, Mediocre and I reconnected. I don't even remember how it happened. But I talk to him almost every day. And he's been on the channel a couple times. And I appreciate him because he's got a very grounded, no-nonsense approach to how he analyzes things. So he's one of the few others that I found that I can have some actual meaningful conversation with. Korak says, I'm looking to see your color commentary skills later on the Houston game. I'm gonna have to up my game there on sports commentary, Korax. I'm a little nervous. I accepted your invitation, but it's not currently one of my bench strengths, sports commentary. But I will do my best, and probably I'll supplement with some alcohol, if that's okay, to compensate for my weakness. So Korax invited me last night on Twitter. What is it? The UFC? I get those initials right? I guess this is the inaugural season. Not the UFC. What is it? The new football league. USF. Is that it? UFL? UFL. United Football League. Minor league scheduled to start play in March of 2024. So Corax is going to be pulling for was it the Blackhawks? St. Louis Battlehawks. And we have two teams in Texas. We've got the Houston Roughnecks, which I said I'd co-host a game with him when the Battlehawks and the Roughnecks match up. And there's also a San Antonio team, the Brahmas. And I don't know if I'm as excited about that, but if I'm available, I'll certainly support the Texas side when they go up against the Battlehawks Corax. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams in the league. The viewer, good morning to you. All right, we got a few minutes to get last questions in for our market open live stream. SPY's down still about 1.5%, slowly bleeding out this morning. We had that little run up in the first 30 minutes of the market open, although that has been eroded away and even lower than the open. Doesn't look like it's going to be a fun day based on the core CPI, not the core CPI, the CPI. Palantir down 4.5%, AMC down 4.5%, GameStop down 5.67%. What else we got going on here? BGLC dropping now after a run up to 224. Shopify is recovering after that almost 11% sell-off that they had this morning on weak guidance. Let's look at a couple of other retail stocks here real quick. Archer Aviation down 8%. I'm sure that says they have news. I'm guessing it was due to the SPY, but let's see. What else we got here? No. Just talking about Kathy Woods had made an investment in Archer. I'm looking for a couple of other names here. ChargePoint, ouch, down 10%. Cinemark, down 0.5%. Let's see how they've been doing. Cinemark is down from their high in October, which was $19. They dropped as low as 13, currently at 15. Cinemark's earnings are this Friday after market close, if I'm not mistaken. I have a live stream already scheduled, so please join us on the 16th for that. Again, if you're in AMC, I think hearing what Cinemark executives have to say about the industry and what analysts' questions are to them is going to be a vital little peek at what we can expect for AMC 2 weeks later. So stay tuned for that one. Don't forget about that. And I'll do a earnings update video summary for Cinemark over the weekend after that call is done. In case you're not around and don't want to listen to a 1 hour call. Finger down 2.8% this morning. Just getting ground down. What other little GTII is up 4.7% this morning. I'm not in any of these plays. I just keep up with them. Hawaiian Electric is one that a lot of us have been looking at. There are quite a few of our traders that have established a position in this troubled utility company, mostly for the purposes of doing the wheel strategy, selling covered calls, selling covered calls, selling cash secured puts, and then crossing fingers that they come out of the lawsuit with residents there in Hawaii and get a bounce back up. You're at $13. And if that lawsuit is resolved in their favor, you could see a push back up. There's no way to know if they're going to have to file bankruptcy if the lawsuit doesn't go their way or if it gets resolved. But that's a play you can go dig into. We have a lot in our group that are trading this. I kind of have for myself if I get back into it, I would not like to pay more than $12. So I don't have any at the moment. I have traded it on volatility swings, and it got as high recently as $15 in January. Low $9 to $11. But I'm not getting back in unless I see it meander back down to 12 or lower. What else we got here? And it's still a risky play. I want to be perfectly clear. If they lose a lawsuit and have to file bankruptcy, you'll get wiped out in about 2 minutes. Hycroft down 2.5%. IMAX down 1.3%. Lucid this morning down 6%. Lucid's been trying to rally. They're getting spanked. This morning, Marathon Digital down 10%. Mullen down another 7%. Oh, man. Poor Mullen. They had run up to 785. They're at 717 right now. A lot of cars being parked out on the dealer's lot, being invoiced. I want to see payments. I don't want to see an invoice. For me to change my mind on Mullen, I want to see revenue on the income statement. I don't care how many cars they build, ship, park on a dealer's lot, or invoice. I want to see sales that get them to the point where they're not going to have to keep diluting. Until then, I'm going to be leaning bearish on Mullen because of concerns of additional dilution. NEO down 4.5%. Paramount, as we covered earlier, announced some layoffs. That one is down 4% this morning. B. Riley, the stock that the bears are going after right now. They had been putting out negative info, concerns about B. Riley's potential to even stay viable. It had been run down from $29 down to 18, then rallied back up, probably crushing out some smaller retail shorts, but the big guys were probably still on board. This was really the crushing short squeeze. There were some shorts. When it dipped to 16 and then rallied all the way back up to 29, I almost guarantee that some of this volume in my mind was shorts getting out. They got spanked if you held through this. And probably some new ones came in at 29. And they've been able to push it down from 29 all the way back down to 18. So I don't know where it goes from here. But that's one that just out of curiosity to see will the shorts end up being correct that B. Riley is on the brink of collapse? I don't know. They're fighting back. The company's fighting back, saying bullshit. And the very vocal bears are not letting up. And sometimes their thesis takes a while for the light of day to be seen. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Safety Shot was another retail darling as it ran up from $2 to $4, currently back down to $2.82. And as I was talking to someone about this the other day, they are doing a double-blind placebo study to validate their product. I don't want to be involved in this stock. I did play it on some of this run-up, but I don't want to be involved in holding this stock until I see a scientific, valid study that says that it works. So that's kind of what I'm waiting on. And I think, if I recall, that we should get an update in March or late March on that. I have reached out to the company to ask me to send some product, and I'll do it won't be a double-blind placebo study, but I'll do a drinking study live here on camera with you. We'll test our blood alcohol, do a couple shots, and then try the safety shot. But they won't answer me, so that is concerning. SoFi down 5.7%. There might be some deals this week. You know, if you got dry powder and some of these companies are getting ground down, might be some opportunities. It makes it not an exciting day to sit here and talk on YouTube, but as a trader, someone who's waiting for some of these stocks to pull back, I actually like days like this because they don't last forever. They might last a day, a week, a month, a quarter. But the red days are where we get our opportunities to buy some dips on companies that we have targeted to buy. And I recently added Tesla around 182. I think when it dipped below this line, I added some Tesla. So I'm not going to be adding today. I need it to drop below my last buy-in. So maybe 175. I'll add a little more. 154, I'd love to see a pullback to there. I don't know if it'll happen. And then the other one that everybody's watching is ZJYL, the latest Chinese backroom squeeze that recently did a forward stock split, which the pumpers promised us was gonna scare the shorts out. All those extra shares, added liquidity was going to cause a short squeeze. And it did. I mean, in pre-market, a couple people fell for that nonsense. It ran up to $52 and then it got crushed. 52 back down to 5, currently trading at 8.94. Maximus, what's up, amigo? Soul Seeker says Waste Management is up after earnings. Let's see what they got. Oh, very nice. 188 up to 199, up 5.5%. Hard to find on a day like this, huh? Let's see what else we got. Blue chip that's looking spiffy. Now that we ran through all of the retail plays, here's my blue chip list on the left side of the screen. If you're feeling bad about one particular stock that you own today, it's good to kind of look at the indexes or look at some blue chips. And if they're getting spanked too, then nobody's targeting your flavor of the month stock. It's just a bad day. And as we go through all of the blue chips, I just see a sea of red here. Coke is barely hanging into the green based on some good earnings pre-market this morning. And shit, that's about it. Everything else is getting crushed. I need to add Waste Management onto my blue chip list. So let me do that real quick. It is a good day to go fishing, guys. Good day to go work in the garden. Go see a movie. Where's that damn favorite button? There we go. All right. Now we got 2 green ones on the blue chip list. Listen to an audio book. Go watch your favorite conspiracy YouTuber, Corax, and get some ideas for a next video. I'm going to spend my day, I've got a little bit of outside work to do, as I covered on the gardening video yesterday. Texas Organic Gardening is my other channel. And I've been letting it languish, yes, for 2 years while I am here talking to you guys. But I made a commitment to myself to get some fresh content on that channel as I prepare for spring planting. So I will be posting once a week or so over there. I've got a lot of projects that I highlighted to you that I'm going to be working on. And I do plan on getting at least an hour work done outside every day that it's not raining. It's already time to start doing some indoor planting here, some seed planting. So I need to get on that, and I need to get the outdoor area ready for planting those seedlings in about 2 to 4 weeks, transferring them outside. Our last frost day is in April here in Central Texas, but we don't often have frost after February. It can happen. Maggie says we're expecting a really big snowstorm. I was chatting with Mediocre Maggie, and he's up your direction. I think he's in, where is he? He's somewhere around Massachusetts, and he was showing me a live shot of him going about his day, and there was snow on the ground, and I was sitting here in 60-degree weather in January or early Feb. And I was like, holy shit, man. I just can't even imagine what you guys are dealing with up there. I mean, I can imagine it. I spent time growing up in North Dakota and Nebraska, so I've done my time in the snow, but just reminds me why I'm thankful to be in Texas now. Correct says, reminds me that I need to ask my landlord if I can till up the side yard to put in some Brussels sprouts. I say just go ahead. It's probably an improvement, Correct. You know what else is fun to plant if you're going to be there a while is asparagus. It takes like 2 years to get asparagus going. I was looking last night as I was talking to my wife about the gardening stuff. She's like, are you going to plant a bunch of herbs for my bunnies? And yeah, I'm going to plant a bunch of herbs. I always do anyways, just for cooking and salads and stuff like that. But her bunnies like some stuff that I don't typically plant, including mint and dill. And I wasn't sure if you could grow dill in Central Texas, but apparently you can. You can start it early now and get maybe one crop in before it gets hot and the plant bolts. And really the preferred time to plant dill in Texas, where I'm at, is the fall, like October. So we're going to try that this year. All the normal other herbs, basil. We had that funny discussion, and that went on all night on my Discord. Basil, oregano, thyme, mint, all of those, coriander, or what do we call it here in Texas? Cilantro. All those grow very easily here. But dill, I was not sure about. Do you have time to plant herbs? Wedmore says. Yeah, I like thyme too. Thyme grows very easily here. I'm just going to have to move, now that I have chickens, I'm going to have to move all the herbs into the fenced off garden, because there is nothing green in your yard. If you have chickens, there is literally nothing green that will survive. I don't even have grass in my backyard anymore. They will decimate anything green. They're good at eating bugs, which is good for the garden, but you can't let them in the garden. Blazin says we just got dumped on snow. I'm assuming 2 feet of freaking snow, and you're up in Nova Scotia, right? You're up Maggie's way. Unfreaking believable. Well, I hope I'm not making you feel bad, Blazin, talking about it being warm here. How warm is it today? Hey Siri, what's the temperature?
It's 47 degrees outside.
That's pretty cold for Texas. 47. The high today is going to be 66. 0% chance of rain and sunny. So here in about 30, 45 minutes, maybe now would be a good time before it gets 66 and I break a sweat to go finish up some of my outdoor tasks, come back in here, get some Palantir reading done, watch, put some alerts on stocks that I'm looking for a buy-in opportunity on. Some of these blue chips that are getting ground down. This is going to be a slow trading day for me because I'm looking for picking up some longer term plays. But I have some marked. I'm just waiting, doing the patience game. Maximus says he's getting pounded with rain in California. Maggie says she has a black bear that is sleeping behind her garage. Holy shit. As I recall, Maggie's saying she's on quite a bit of acreage up there in Maine. I've never lived anywhere, Maggie, that has black bear or any bear. Our most dangerous animal we got to worry about here in the urban environment is coyote. There's always somebody's pets getting picked off in the neighborhood, Maggie. Nova Scotia, 3 hours away from where Maggie's at. Yeah, I remember as we were talking about doing the road trip back in 2021, that if I drove up the East Coast to Maine, Nova Scotia was right over there, and I've never been to that part of the world. I think the furthest north I've been is New York. New York, Boston, Washington, D.C., Baltimore. And I'd like to go up into upstate New York, up into Maine, Connecticut. I almost went to school up there. I had applied at some Ivy League schools, none of which accepted me. The only school I did get accepted in that was in the Northeast was Boston University. And if you heard that story before, I got my first semester bill, including the dorm and everything, and I was like, holy shit, I will never dig out of this hole if I go up there for 4 years. It's freaking expensive as an out-of-stater. And then UT Austin was much cheaper, and they gave me a scholarship, so I ended up in Texas. I just wanted to go to a big school. But it would have been fun to live up in Boston for a couple of years, I think. And or any of the Ivy League schools that I applied to. I guess my SATs were good, but they weren't good enough. or I just don't know the right people. You know how that thing goes. You got to be either a freaking genie ass or legacy. Maggie says, am I crazy to hold Palantir? I can only tell you what I did, Maggie. I sold mine into the run-up. I don't know if it's going to keep going up or not. And I'm anxious to buy it again if there's a pullback. I don't know if there'll be a pullback, but I can guarantee if it pulls back, I will be buying it again. Where it goes from here, we had some people share some thoughts yesterday, and I talked with you about what the analysts' expectations are, and we deferred any of my further thoughts until I have 4 to 6 hours to go through all of the latest filings, all of the analyst reports, all of the company's latest press releases, and then I will be able to talk a little more about what I think. But the average analyst price is around $25. So now you're just going to have to see what the market does, the overall market, because that's what's weighing on things today. And it looks like now over the last 30 minutes as we've been speaking, SPY's curling back up, and some of these tickers are getting a little bit of love again. I see a little more green on the blue chip chart. AMD back in the green. AbbVie back in the green. Barely. AMC's coming back up. GameStop's still trading flat. Palantir's trying to come back up. Maximus says, I graduated from the School of Street Tech. I forget what you do, Maximus. You don't have to tell us in the chat. You're into racing too, aren't you? If I recall. Maggie says she bought in Palantir at 7. Well, with a low cost basis like that, Maggie, I think, I don't see Palantir going back to 7. You're fine. You're fine for a long-term hold. I think that's safe to say. Would be my guess. It's just a matter of do you want to peel a little bit off of profit taking and then just park that money and wait for it to pull back and buy a couple more shares if it pulls back, or do you just hold and be patient? I think either one is probably okay. That's more of a Maggie decision. Semi-pro karting is what Maximus does. Max, do you ever post videos, or do you have a YouTube channel? I think that'd be fun for people to see more of. I know you have a Discord where you talk about racing. But I think that would be a cool YouTube channel. Take something that you love doing and just post about it. You're already racing. Have someone film you. You're already fiddling around with your carts. Film it. That's a great topic with a very niche audience that would probably just eat up that content. Oh, Max's real job is a tile contractor. Another fantastic job, if you know what you're doing. When I had my rental properties, Max, I always had the dream of trying to do my own tile work, and I always ended up paying somebody to do it. Like if I swapped a rental property from carpet to tile, not because it's necessarily difficult if you're patient as a beginner, but for me to to carve out the time to learn how to do it right and then to do a full install, it just was never worth it to me. But I feel like that's a life skill that I should figure out at one point. And much respect to people that can do it quickly and professionally. What other skills that I want to learn besides tile would be welding, and one that I'm about to pull the trigger on this week, maybe today, is getting my first guitar. Some of y'all know that. I've been talking about it for a while. And Guitar Center is having a special this week that expires tomorrow with 4-year, 48-month interest-free payments. And that I kind of like that deal. Kind of like not having, I don't want to get a $150 guitar. I want to spend a little bit more money. Not the $5,000 guitar either. But I like not having to spend all my money in one day, and 4 years of interest-free payments. It's kind of like perfect for me. Do we have a single guitar player in the chat right now? I just got one question. If we do. So I'm getting an acoustic guitar, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a Dreadnought. And I guess my main question is, if you know that, as a complete beginner, right? I've never played one musical instrument in my life, which when I learned dance, country western, bachata, salsa, waltz, all that shit that I learned to meet women, which is how I met my wife. You know, another tool in the toolbox of getting out there socially. When I learned dance, probably one of the hardest things was having no musical background. I was like a fish out of water. Like, I can't hear the damn rhythm on this salsa. And then one day it clicked. After listening to salsa music for many, many months, I could hear the beat. I could hear the different instruments. I could hear the rhythm. And that's a little off topic, but I'm saying musically, I'm going to start out as a rank amateur beginner. I have no fucking clue what I'm doing with the guitar. So that'll be an interesting thing to talk about over the next year as I go through that. And then the conspiracy people can start calling me not only a failed actor, but a failed rock star. So that'll give them some content too. Inside joke, because I took acting lessons, never did one paid gig. It was just another self-development thing. Challenge yourself, always challenge yourself to learn new things, get out of your comfort zone. I took dance lessons for that. I took acting lessons for that. I'm going to learn music for the same reason. Never stop growing. Never stop becoming a better version of yourself. But yeah, I'll be Tony Denaro, the failed gardener, failed actor, failed rock star. One more thing for them to talk about. The question is for the musicians, if you were buying your first acoustic guitar, do you just go straight acoustic, or is it worth springing the little bit of extra money for a acoustic dash electric? I'm not really inclined to get the latter. I think I'm, as a rank beginner, probably just spend a few $100s less and get a regular acoustic guitar. But am I making a big mistake by doing that? That's my question. Maximus says acoustic gives you a base to learn on, electric comes later. I would, if I find that I enjoy it, and I'm able to practice daily and survive and learn and do well. I would like to have an electric down the road, but it's not on my high list because my musical taste, if I'm trying to learn a song or learn to play, it's going to lean more towards country style music. The top 40 type stuff that you hear on the country chart. Maybe some Latin music. Doc Zeno sent me, what was it? Spanish? What was that you sent me, Doc? Oh, flamenco. Flamenco in G minor. Blazin says you don't really need the electric unless you know that you're going to perform for people. Yeah, that's not going to happen. not in the next year, Blazin. All right, so you guys are confirming. Thank you, Headstock Hiram. Also confirming electric acoustics are more versatile for playing live. I think, just being realistic. Even if I have a lot of free time. As I'm sitting here watching charts, I can be watching a YouTube video, teach yourself guitar. That's my plan. If that doesn't work, I'll go take formal lessons. But I have a lot of free time. And the plan is just to try and teach myself. And we'll see how that goes. If it doesn't work, I'll adjust my strategy. I think it's, at least a year minimum to become semi-proficient. A year of daily practice. All right, so that is the plan, either today or tomorrow. I'll probably swing by. I've been shopping online over the past few days, and I'll probably go look at a few in person today or tomorrow. I'll check out Sweetwater too and see if they have any competing deals. But as I was pricing things on different websites, it looked like the retail prices are pretty standard MSRPs. Max says, don't buy a cheap one. So my price point, Max, is anything under $1,000. So I'm okay with spending $800 or $900 to get, not a $150 beginner guitar. I think between $500 to $995, you can get a decent enough guitar for a beginner that it'll sound okay. Not going to be George Strait quality, but I'm not going to spend $9,000 on a guitar. Maggie says, yeah, maybe Maggie, we can do a performance in a year. I'll buy Scarlett a flamenco skirt and a rose, and I'll be here, and she'll be dancing the flamenco in the background. We'll see if we can make that happen. Max says, go to a used music place to get great deals on good equipment. I considered that, Max, and I guess I just have a question because it's not my area of expertise. If I'm buying somebody else's used piece of crap, I know that as far as vintage instruments go, there's a great resale market, but I have a concern, and maybe it's an unfounded concern about buying used equipment. If I'm just totally off base, let me know, set me straight. Because if I could up the quality of what I'm getting by going used, it's just like, imagine the first time you ever bought a used car and you didn't know how to analyze it. It makes me nervous. I have no ability to look at a used guitar and know if it's good or not. And thank you for the reminder, Maggie. I did remind the gentleman yesterday, but again, tomorrow is Valentine's Day. Don't forget, do something nice. Last night, our Valentine's date was watching Anything But You, which Scarlett absolutely loved. We started off with some sparkling, I guess it was Italian bubbly, Prosecco, I think it was, at AMC. $15 a glass for 8 ounces. I was like, I could have bought that whole damn bottle for $15. But it was good. The movie was great. We had the entire theater to ourselves, which is not great for AMC. But I told her that, jokingly, she knew I was joking. I said, yeah, I rented out the entire theater for you, babe, just to make it special. We had some good food. I had the chicken strips with it comes with fries at our AMC Dine-In Theater, and I upgraded it to the bacon cheese. I know it's not keto. I upgraded to the bacon cheese fries, and it comes with coleslaw and pretzel bites. And I mean, it was so much damn food. I still haven't eaten. It's 10 o'clock in the morning here. I was so damn full. And they do have some bonus content on that movie. If you haven't seen it yet, the Valentine's Encore, they have a little talk before the movie with Sydney, and I forget the actor's name, the guy that was in Top Gun. And then if you stay all the way through the credits, if you can hang out an extra couple minutes, there's another 5-minute sequence of some bonus footage. And that movie ends on a very happy, funny, laugh, singing, dancing ending. And I guarantee you'll leave there smiling, maybe a little tear of happiness. And if you stay for the ending sequence, it's just more smiles and laughs because they show a lot of behind-the-scenes footage of making that movie. Did we add fruit to our meal yesterday or to the Prosecco? But the answer is no in either case. All right, we got 10 o'clock. Market is recovering as I'm looking here. Blue chips, not so much, but at least the meme stocks are, Palantir included. I know it's not a meme stock, but I'm going to sign off for now, get some work done around here, and I will be back with you guys 1 hour before the market closes. We'll see where we're at. I'm going to hang out with you for all of the stocks that have earnings after hours today. That includes, and I need to spend a little time, and I'll send a tweet out if I fit this in before market close. A lot of you are wanting my thoughts on Robinhood. I'll do that while I'm eating breakfast here in a bit. Got Airbnb, Upstart, Robinhood, Lyft, MGM, Zillow, and Instacart all reporting after hours. So we'll hang out for some extra time after hours and see what comes in here. David says, do you think Adam will provide numbers regarding popcorn candy sales and any update on Taylor Swift type events on the horizon? That is a great question, one that I ask myself a lot. So let me just tell you what I know, David. In Q2 2023, he talked about popcorn in the Q&A segment. And you can go pull up the transcript. But what he told us about the popcorn, the pumpers didn't hear, unfortunately, because they don't probably listen to conference calls. But he said that when popcorn is fully ramped, they expect it to be a $100 million contributor to revenue. And I take that as top line revenue, not profit. Profit will be a subset of 100 million. So for all the people saying that AMC is going to generate $1 billion in revenue from popcorn, that is not what your CEO is telling you. That's not me being negative. I'm telling you literally what the CEO said 6 months ago. Fully ramped. We're not fully ramped yet, but fully ramped will eventually be potentially up to $100 million. So we're not going to save the company with popcorn, but if you bring in an extra 50 million in profit, that's a considerable amount. Every little bit helps. As far as candy, I don't know what the margins are on that, and I don't even know what the customer take rate is. I know that everybody I've talked to, including the manager at the AMC last night, everybody loves that damn stuff if you've tried it. But yeah, I hope he gives us some idea how the candy sales are going here in the first 3 months. But all of these things are long-term plays, long-term strategies. I did ask the manager, if she had any inside knowledge about upcoming private label beer and wine. No, they don't know. She didn't even know that AMC was thinking about it. What else? So I answered your question about popcorn or candy. I hope he'll give us a candy update. We talked about the reality of popcorn. I don't expect any other new news than what he told us. And I'm very, very hopeful that we get some announcement about upcoming planned direct distributorship deals, be it a concert, be it the Francis Ford Coppola Megalopolis movie. Oh man, that would be such a feather in the cap if AMC could pull off a distributor deal for that. So yeah, I'm hopeful that there's some good news, David. But I don't think you should be banking your good news on popcorn and candy. Let's just calling it real like it is. There could definitely be some upside news if he has a concert series or a distributor deal to announce. All right, ladies and gents, time to go refill the coffee, get some food in my belly, do at least an hour of garden work out there, and then dig into Robinhood and Palantir. So I will see you guys back in 4 hours. We'll watch the market close and some of these companies that have earnings. Thank you to all of you who tuned in and hung out this morning. I enjoyed it. Hope you did. Hope you learned something. Get your questions ready for this afternoon. And